Hi, Parish. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you coming from San Diego. And we're going to start out with just asking a little bit about your journey and how you got here and what your company focuses on.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. So currently I'm working at Full Stack Academy. We briefly discussed prior to this. We're primarily an education technology company focused on really bridging the gap for non-traditional students that are looking to get into either cybersecurity or some type of web development. We've launched a couple new products too, some data analytics and product management, but it's generally students that are looking to either change careers or maybe upskill themselves and get advanced in their current jobs, or some that really have just kind of always thought about maybe cybersecurity as something that's interesting to them. It's a real growing field and they want to make that change. So we kind of fill that niche for those type of students. I've been here now for about 2 years. Myself been in education technology for, I don't know, maybe 15 years or so, since leaving the University of Michigan, as we talked about before. That's kind of how my journey, and I'm really just looking to make some changes within the company. We've recently launched, I told you, the Employee Resource Group, which is something that I've been responsible for, diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's one of the things that attracted me to Full Stack, is their focus on diversity and equity and inclusion. So I saw it as a true opportunity to make a difference and have some impact.
That's fantastic. And you hear about nowadays with Google launching their kind of education, where education for our kids is going to be very different than when we were going to school.
Yes.
Do you see your business expanding in the next 12 to 24 months?
Absolutely. We've been expanding quite a bit recently. We partner with universities throughout the country. So I think right now, last I count, I believe we were at around 16 universities we partnered with. We are trying to get that number up, or continue to get that number, I should say. We're constantly being contacted by different universities. So I see an expansion in that area. We've also launched some new products that are coming out. Like I said, data analytics is one of the new ones. DevOps and product management are 3 new products that we're offering to universities. So universities have a choice to choose between which products they actually want to offer their students or offer their community. We're expanding in that area as well.
That's fantastic. And then internal to your business, what's the biggest change since the pandemic?
Biggest change I'm going to say probably is twofold. One, us going from on-site at universities to virtual. We had anticipated that being temporary, but I think, like a lot of companies, it's become permanent.
The cat is out of the bag.
Exactly.
As we build remote teams for and we've known this for the last 15 years, and it's everybody now knows it.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's been one of the big changes. And the second one, we really had to change our curriculum, our method of teaching, because it's different teaching obviously in person than teaching online. So there was a lot of curriculum reviews and curriculum rewrites that we had to go through to make sure it was catering to students that were going to be learning virtually. So those are probably the 2 biggest changes that I've noticed.
Very interesting. And has hiring and retaining good staff become more or less difficult since the pandemic?
Well, that's a great question. I think I'm going to say hiring's probably been easier because you have a bigger pool of candidates. Retaining them, I'm going to say, has been a little more difficult.
Well, you're reading my mind, because that's my next question. It was experiencing what's the most is there certain departments that it's harder to keep? I think so. There's 2 areas in ours that we've seen a really big change. One is our teachers and instructors themselves, because most of them, especially today, if you have a background in cybersecurity or coding or web development, you're pretty sought after from a lot of different technology companies. So keeping the teachers on staff has been difficult. That's been challenging because they get a lot of different opportunities. And then the second area, which we've seen surprisingly, is kind of in our marketing area. We've seen a lot of our top people at our marketing team been plucked by other companies and leave. And it seems that a lot of the other, I'll call technology companies that have kind of been in ed tech, but really not to the level that we may be at our company. They've been trying to explore those options and really expand their education division. So they've been taking or coming after some of our marketing folks to help them launch some of their new products and new services.
Very interesting. And are you seeing wage creep occurring?
We haven't so much seen that yet. I think we've been pretty competitive in that area, so I haven't seen much of that happening.
That's fantastic, because that's typically not the norm based on the other companies we talk to. So congratulations there.
Yeah.
And then would you say your sales cycle is longer or shorter than previously?
I'm gonna say it feels like it's been shorter, and I think it's because we are now pretty established and we have so many partners that we work, university partners, that kind of, the proof's in the pudding, so to speak. What we've been doing is working, and they've been seeing the success of it and reading about it. We've got a lot of public press recently, some new news articles and some feature stories in some magazines. So I think the universities are seeing that, and so they've been reaching out to us proactively. So we haven't had to go out and search as much as we were when we were first getting started. So yeah, that's been a positive change.
That's great. And this one's around kind of your operations. Would you say a lot of your operations are clearly documented, especially for recurring activities within your organization?
That's a great question. I'm going to say somewhat. And I think that's one of the challenges that as we're expanding and growing, we're having, is that when we have so many universities and so many different products across universities, and we offer full-time classes, we offer part-time classes. We've now started offering some, I'll call them flexible time schedule classes. So each one of those requires its own documentation and its own set of policies and procedures. So we were just looking yesterday at this actually, and it looks across all of our products. We have 15 different informed policy docs because of the different, I guess, categories they could fall into. And we're kind of talking that it's getting more difficult to manage as we continue to expand. So we're looking at ways to streamline that and to hopefully standardize things across. I should point out too that besides the university side that I'm on, we also have what's called CORE, which is which is really what Full Stack was established in New York and Chicago, where there actually were on-site campuses that students would attend. So the core courses are different than the university. So there's really a difference of philosophy there, that requires different documentation.
Understood. And then how do you decide on establishing your KPIs?
Yeah, so I think that's an area I think we're still being challenged in a little bit, because I would say the universities themselves, since we're partnered with them, some of them have different focus areas and different KPIs that they measure success by. So it's been sometimes challenging for us to align those. From a company ourselves, we're looking at more growth and revenue numbers to see that we're being successful. One of the big things on the university side also is our retention numbers, right? How many of our students start our courses and how many finish? And then a second part of that is how fast or how soon do they find employment? How successful are they? Yeah. So those are the areas that we're really looking at for measuring success and measuring our KPIs. One of the other things I think we're starting to look at now is the graduation rate of our students. And what I mean by that, a little different than retention, where they just stay with us, but how many of them are actually successfully completing the course? Because we do have some students that, for whatever reason, they go on to what we call an audit status, where they're maybe not going to get a completion certificate. They may end up not showing up for the last whatever weeks because some personal thing has happened. So different things like that. So we're really trying to look at how many students started, how many graduated with that cohort, and how many were successful.
Makes sense. And then what would you say your biggest market prediction is for the upcoming year?
Ooh, I'm going to say for us or industry-wide?
For you.
For us, I'm going to say that just growth. I think we're going to continue to grow. I think you're going to see us bring on some new and exciting partners that we either haven't heard, maybe people haven't heard that we've been contacting or working with. And I think in some different avenues, we've talked about reaching out to some different types of universities, and even potentially, I should say another part of that might be potentially offering their students some other options, like maybe offering them some actually classes that Full Stack Academy is teaching in conjunction with the university on campus. Those are two areas I think we're probably exploring that you might see happen in the future.
That's fantastic. Parish, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate the insight, and looking forward to hearing about the continued success.
Sounds good. Thank you.